Hey guys, back at it. This is day 234, 235, and 236, a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of my 1 year daily diary challenge. This challenge was prompted after I completed a 100-day challenge, and those first 100 days were intuitively prompted after a meditation session. If you want to listen into those, pop back. If not, let's get into it. So I have been just getting into the packing, getting into the cleaning, getting into all the stuff. And sometimes I've just not been able to sit down and do a quick recording for whatever reason. And I have just been doing a lot more combination episodes. And so this week is just the beginning of June. It's officially go time. We are now in the final month of moving. It seems so crazy that all these days have come to pass, and finally we are in that crunch push phase. So I have been trying to get together with friends and different people. And this weekend I did some painting in the house, trying to touch up some paint and paint a bedroom that I needed to paint. So Monday today, it was just, I didn't have the kids. They were with their dad. So he took them to school. I just relaxed in the morning, took it easy, woke up very chill. I actually had texted my man in Florida and was like, hey, are you heading to work early? And I was assuming that he was going to call me, but he didn't. So we ended up having, some weirdness or some differences of opinion. And he sent me a message kind of saying that he doesn't anticipate always calling in the morning or texting in the morning, or always calling or always texting in the afternoon or evening. And if we always do it, then it's expected, and he doesn't want to get into expectations. So I was able to express that I was, looking forward to chatting with him, but we didn't get to. And he expressed that he didn't want to get into a set expectation of communication time. So I was like, okay, I totally hear what he was saying, and that's valid. And so we were able to talk through it. And I felt fairly good about that. We were open in our communication. So the day went on, and I just did some stuff in the house, loading up thrift store stuff, trashing all of the big things that I had inside. So it's just more trash, more recycling, more thrift store stuff. I haven't really packed up anything as of yet. I'm waiting for a couple of people to come through with boxes. But I have 4 bins for the kitchen and gonna get that situated. So I actually did start pulling items out of cabinets and just making sure okay, this cabinet's clear, this cabinet's clear. So Monday was just a big day like that, hanging around in the house. I actually felt kind of off as far as coming to the realization of my arthritis, and coming to the realization that something has to change and I have to share the burden. And so I was just holding on to that all day. I sat in the field, by the house in the afternoon after I got to my workout. And did a whole bunch of stuff in the house, and just went outside, had my coffee, and just sat in the grass for about an hour, and just grounded, and was very in the present moment, and just focusing on positives and all of that. And so the day kind of went quickly just because of all of that. And so my daughter was ready to be picked up from the bus stop, and I picked her up. And I had just been so emotional and so on the edge of crying, and picked her up and got her home, and started to talk to her about what was going on. a little bit, but I didn't really get to the subject. And then my son came home and I picked him up and he came and I made pasta because I was trying to do like a clean the cabinet, get all the stuff out and use up what I can. So it's like, find cans and boxes of things that I can use up and then give away things that, aren't necessary. And then I will, because I said that, it reminded me of something that happened earlier in the day on Monday where my ex dropped the kids' backpacks and stuff off at the house before he went to work. And I was like super emotional, like I said, and he came and I was in the middle of just like crying and just purging tears. And I walked out to get the bags and he was like, "Are your eyes okay?" And I just told him that I was stressed out about moving and stressed out about, just different things. And it is what it is. And I'm just going to let myself get emotional and purge it and then, be fine. And so he was very, very nice about supporting me and saying like if there's anything I need. And so I did ask if he would look out for boxes. So yeah, I had a big cry and just a lot of tears and a lot of emotions came out on Monday. My legs were still killing me with my thighs so tight from all of the painting up and down the ladder, bending, just different stuff. And I was also thinking like, why is it taking so long for me to recover from things that I used to be able to just like, move through? So yeah, Monday the kids came home, we made dinner, we hung out. The kids were very sweet and loving and supportive of me. And then we wrapped it up and we went to bed. And my son's been having these moments at night where he he wants to be up later. He wants to stay on his computer or his phone or his this or his that. And then he'll get upset at me if I don't let him. And so then he'll start, doing intentional things to just be an annoyance. And so I've been taking a pause and reevaluating and saying like, what would the creator do? What would the universe do? Like, how can I be the light in this situation? And so I just take a pause and make sure I'm not reactive and then go in and start to be really playful with him and do silly things and just like break up the tension and the moodiness and just make it more about like, let's have fun right now, just you and me. And so that's been working the last, couple of times I've been doing it. So that was, Monday night, breaking up the moodiness with silliness. And then we got up and it's Tuesday. And so Tuesday this week we weren't having the chiropractor. And I just told my daughter, I was like, we don't have the chiropractor, but she wanted me to pick her up in Carline anyway. So I agreed to that. And I was able to just, say yes to her for that and then go home. And when I went home, I tried to wake up my son and he said he was feeling so sick in his tummy and, he wanted to go back to sleep and he wanted to just rest because he was sick. And I said, okay, understand that when we have sick days, there's no technology, no TV, no phone, no computer, no nothing. And he said, well, what about later? I said, well, if you have a full sick day without technology, like I said, and you rest and you feel better at 4 or 5 o'clock when you normally get home from school, you can get on and play your games. And so that's what he did. He hung out with me at home and we did yoga together. And he took a shower and I took a shower and we went to Costco together and did some shopping and got some snacks that he wanted, some healthy snacks. He said he really wants to get out of the junk food snacking and more into healthy snacks. So I was like, great. So we did all that Costco shopping together. And as we were moving through our day, we were having these great little conversations and connections. And I was able to express to him that I was having arthritis and that it was scary and that I didn't know what was going to happen and I'm going to have to change something to get better. And I just want him to know that, what's going on. And it came up like organically in a conversation. And so he was really sweet with me, and he was really helpful and just like taking care of me. And, we got home from Costco and unloaded our stuff. And then I had a meeting with my financial advisor just to hang out and say, hey, before I move, connect with people, like I said. And so he went with me to that. And then after that, we went to go pick up my daughter from Carline. And so picking her up from Carline, I think over the weekend, my daughter was supposed to go with her dad to do some shopping for graduation suit. She wanted a suit, so graduation suit. And it didn't happen. And she was a little disappointed. And so I told my son what was going on. And he was like, I got it. I'm going to take care of this right now. And so he texted his dad and he was like, you better take her or else, kind of thing. And so when we picked up my daughter in Carline, Simeon, my son, said that he told his sister that he got it all taken care of. And so she was a little upset about it. And I was like, why is she upset? He did something nice for her. And so after, we got home and we settled down, and she told me the reason. She was like, she was disappointed that her dad didn't take her. It wasn't a surprise that he disappointed her, but it was disappointing nonetheless. And she said it made her upset that her dad said yes, he would do it. Not because she asked, but because my son asked. And so it was understandable, that whole thing. And so I was able to connect with her and talk to her about the arthritis and talk to her about why I've been so emotional and all of that too. So that was Tuesday. And we had some healthier dinner on Tuesday, and my son helped make it. And yeah, he was feeling better. And, sometimes we just need those emotional rest days where we're just not at school, not at work, not doing the things that we're normally doing. And we just relax and reset and do whatever we want to do. So hanging out with him all day was great. We had all these lovely little conversations and connections. And then my daughter, she came home and we connected as well. And I've just been like resting every evening, putting my feet up, kind of like putting lotion and ointment on my scabs on my knees just to heal them up really quickly. And then with this arthritis thing, I started to listen to some YouTube videos on changing over my diet to a more alkaline diet, using more castor oil, still doing the things that I'm doing, but removing a lot of the acids. And so that means like stopping coffee and some other things. So that's what I was listening to on Tuesday night, all these YouTube videos on arthritis and natural remedies and that kind of thing. So I told my man, and we had been texting on and off, and kind of like the communication has greatly gone down since when we first started talking, and even last month. And so that was a big, just like, if I'm feeling like I want to communicate with him, I will. I'm not going to hold back just because he isn't. But I'm not going to be super overly communicative, like too much, where I'm just like grasping for extra communication. And I was trying to balance it myself. And so we talked, and I think it was actually Monday that he called me and we talked, because I'm with the 3 days, a lot of stuff has happened, and I like to do these recordings individually so I don't forget things. But I think it was Monday that he called me, and he told me that his boss said that he couldn't come and help me move that weekend because he had this big, huge inventory weekend with like the government, and like all these different people were coming in that specific weekend to do this inventory, and he had to be there. So he told me, he was like, I can't come and help you move because I have to be here for that weekend for that work thing. And so that was another emotional like hit. Because then I was like, okay, so now I won't get to see him. And now I'm in the same boat as far as moving. Just I'm going to be moving on my own, driving the truck. Now I won't be able to drive my car down. So how am I going to fix this situation? And I just kind of like, I've been getting really down and really kind of just like upset and emotional, which is not typically where I vibe. And so on Tuesday night, I talked to him on the phone again, and we were just, chatting about life and different things. And it was an interesting conversation because it was like just general basic stuff. And I did express that I was disappointed that he couldn't come, but I understand, like, because it's work and all that stuff. And I just felt like I really needed to be honest and express what I was feeling. So Monday, full day, Tuesday, full day. Tuesday night again, my son was like not excited about me telling him he had to go to sleep at 10:30, and that at 10, all of his devices shut off. Between 10 and 10:30 is supposed to be relaxing time before bed. And he gets upset because I want him to like do that and not be on a different device until 10:30 exactly. So I told him, no devices, and he got a little upset. And then I did the same thing. I paused. I created an environment that was fun and silly, and we ended up like playing games with the pillows, like putting them on our back like turtle shells, and moving around like turtles and doing silly things. And then that broke up the tension of like him being upset. And so I've just been trying to do these things where I'm like, how can I be non-reactive and playful and engage him in a different way, and then settle down for bed. So we have been the last couple of nights, and that's been beautiful. And so we went to sleep. And then Wednesday, woke up. He wanted to get up super early and go to school. And so I got him up with my daughter. And he decided to wait for me to get back from taking her to school. And he packed his lunch with all the snacks that we got from Costco. We got his water ready. He was so ready to go. And again, like my man in Florida, I had been like communicating on and off whatever I felt like, was working. And so I got my daughter to school, and then I came home and got my son ready and got him to school. And then after I dropped them off to school, I came home, and I was going to get into, doing my workout and doing my sauna and doing my different things, because I had an 11 o'clock hangout connect session with my Reiki teacher. And so I sent my man a quick voice message just to say, hey, this is what I'm planning today. I hope you have a great day. Just generally check in and catch up. And then that was it. So then I just, moved through my day, moved through my morning, got myself ready to go, put on a cute little dress because I felt like it. And then went to my spiritual teacher, the Reiki teacher's house, and it was just a lovely hour and a half to sit and to talk and to connect and to just be in that space. And I did have some realizations while I was talking with her and saying things out loud. And I Actually, I think on Tuesday night, I had the conversation with my man about my arthritis and about me being scared and all of the things that came up with that. Because I was like, if I have arthritis in my legs and it's making my feet heavy and it's making it's creating pain and I am not able to like easily walk in and out of the mall, how am I going to walk around the theme parks? How am I going to go travel? How am I going to do all these things with people that I want to easily? I'm going to be the one that's causing everybody to have a delayed whatever we're doing. And so I was able to share that with him, and he was really open to receive it and hear what I had to say. So on Wednesday, when I was at my Reiki teacher's house and I was speaking all of this out loud, and I said, I think I realized that I was holding on to this information and keeping it inside and keeping it to myself and not allowing others to be there with me along this journey and support me. And also realizing that a lot of my diet I knew from before, because I've done this before. And because I had a bicycle accident when my son was just not even a full year old, and the bicycle fell on top of me and I twisted my foot and ankle and it kind of crunched everything. And I believe I should have gone to the doctors, but I didn't. So something happened in my foot and ankle on my right side that was an injury. So easier for arthritis to come into an injured area and start up. And so around COVID is when it flared really big time. And I ended up, completely changing my diet, doing all of this bulletproof fasting, alkaline, it was so good of a diet, and the way that I was eating and all the supplements I was taking and the care I was putting into my body, that it went away. There was no pain. I could do all the things again, and it was great. And so I didn't think about it again, and all this stuff has been going on with life changes and whatnots, and I just completely let my diet go. And not that I have a super bad diet, but I don't have a great one. And it's a lot of coffee, a lot of teas, a lot of acidic things. And of course, I'm in the coffee industry. I've been doing coffee for a while, so it's a big thing. But for me to realize that I need to shift my diet, and to realize that I needed to share it with others, and to realize that it was necessary to speak out loud what I was going through instead of holding it in, and allow people to come and support me and to do this with me. And that's what I needed. And so sitting with her and talking was great, because I was able to come to some realizations about things. And then I, wrapped it up with her, and I went home to, take care of my knees and continue to research more about the alkaline diet and what foods are good and what foods are not, because I haven't done it in a while. And then my daughter came home from school, and I talked to her about what I was doing and what I was thinking about diet-wise. And then my son came home from school, and talked to him about the same thing. And we had some different dinner, because I made each person their own dinner out of, things we have in the fridge and the freezer and stuff. And my son's been wanting to eat healthier, and he has an idea of what healthy is, so I'm allowing him to explore that. But yeah, as we were doing that, I was sitting with my daughter, and we were talking about different things, about drugs and about smoking and about different things about life. And so I was having a really deep conversation with her. And now at some point during the day, my man, he sent me a voice message just saying he had a busy day. He was going to reach out to me when he got home so we could talk. And so, like I said, I had noticed the taper of like we were constantly texting, we were constantly sending each other like voice messages. We were just like very much communicating all throughout the whole day. He would take extra time off in his day to like communicate with me. It was just like a really beautiful thing. And then the last week, I think from the weekend. So from the weekend through the beginning of the week, it really just like tanked. And I had noticed it, but I wasn't like saying anything yet about it. So I made sure he was ready to talk, and we got on the phone, and he literally like, we just did a normal start to the conversation, and then he just started telling me about how he was feeling and how he was been so stressed and sleepless, and then I kind of picked up on it in the beginning, but it was definitely the breakup call, and that's kind of where it ended, because it wasn't clear until the end that that's where he wanted to land. And so it was just a lot of him sharing his inadequacies and how he doesn't feel like he's ready for this, or he has all this stuff to offer. And so for me, number one, I was shocked because I wasn't really anticipating this kind of end yet. But then I wasn't shocked at the same time. But then I was having this calmness of holding space for him so that he can express what he needed to express. And like I interjected in some points just to reiterate things. But then at the end, I was like, I don't really know what to say. So I'm really speechless as far as like this came out of left field. I just wasn't expecting it. And of course, like your feelings and your opinion is valid, and I can't change that. And I know my worth, and I know that I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to beg you or plead or grovel or go into all the reasons why we should stay together or you should keep a relationship with me. I said, because I see my value. But I understand where you're coming from. And so, yeah, this is the last time. So I was like, typically with people I've gone out with and dated and connected with, it's like, we definitely, once it's over, and that person's not really back in my space or life. And so that's kind of what I told him. I was like, yeah, so, I mean, if I do see you around at some point, like, I don't even know if our circles would cross, but then I would see you and say, hey, but yeah, he was like, I don't expect you to wait around for me. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not waiting around for anybody. But I had a piece about it, and I came in from that conversation just like more emotionally wrecked and just like, crying and just upset and big crocodile tears. And I was able to sit with my daughter and just like get some connection, because she's really good about that. So then instead of grabbing ice cream or grabbing some kind of sweet treat, I decided, hey, let's sit down and watch this show that we've been trying to watch but not watching. And so she was doing homework and we were watching this show, K-drama. And I was just like, okay, so now I literally, all the stuff going through my mind, I literally have like no connections to people in the dating world because I removed all of those. I removed my app. Once, my man and I were official, I removed all the people who I needed to in my space. And so I was like, yep, there's really nobody to get that instant gratification from. There's nobody to reach out to. Now I am literally in a space where I am having to focus on myself, focus on the kids, focus on the move. I don't have any distractions. And yeah, I was like, wow, I'm in a totally different place than I thought I would be. But yeah, now it's going to be a full fresh start, and it's not changed the emotionalness of whatever I'm feeling. But I'm moving through it, and I'm trying to be positive every day about amazing things. And I'm actually in a 30-day gratitude series on my Instagram, where I'm just like every single day I'm posting something that I'm grateful for. And I'm trying to do more local things of like, what in North Carolina am I really just blessed by? What in this house am I blessed by? So that's what I'm doing. I'm in a 30-day gratitude. And I'm also started Kabbalah too, to kind of get more into what all of that is. And yeah, I'm just packing and moving and lots of fun stuff. So the rest of Wednesday was just like eating dinner, watching the show, hanging out with the kids. And then once it got time for bed, we wrapped it up and went up to bed. And my son was again upset that he couldn't be on his computer or his phone or anything after 10 o'clock. And so with him, I just did some more playful distraction to get us in the mode for bed, and that worked again. So it's been fun to kind of play with him and do those things while I can before he gets too old, and he is not really into that. So I've been having fun too with that. And so yeah, this the last couple of days has been a big shift and change, lots of emotions flowing and running, some big realizations, and just the next phase is going to be all about health and growth and new beginnings. So I thank you guys so much for being here, for listening in, for taking the time to support me this way. I don't get paid to be here. I'm just here for myself, trying to accomplish this 1 year of daily diary challenge that I started. And I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. As always, have an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.